Let all begin the meditation with 3 long and deep breaths together to situate our mind in this space together. We first start with mindful breathing. Breathing in, I'm aware of my in-breath. Breathing out, I'm aware of my out-breath. In, out. Breathing in, my breath grows deep. Breathing out, my breath goes slowly. In, deep. Out, slowly. Now that we have established a rhythm of our breathing, we can turn to our body and do a gentle scan of our body while we're breathing. Breathing in, I'm aware of my body. Breathing out, I relax my whole body. In, aware of body. Out, relax the body. Now that we have harmonized between the breathing and the body, we can go a little bit deeper into our different parts of our body where tension arises. Breathing in, I'm aware of the tensions in my body. Breathing out, I release all the tension in my body. In, aware of the tension. Out, release the tension in the body. Now let's go a little bit deeper into our feeling and emotions. Be aware of one prominent feeling that is currently in you and use your mindful breathing to be with that feeling. Breathing in, I'm aware of that feeling. Breathing out, I am there with that feeling. In, awareness of the feeling. Out, be present with the feeling. Now let's release all the thinking and worrying. Just be breathing in. I'm enjoying in breath. Breathing out, I enjoy my out breath. Thank you everyone for the practice. I enjoy that a lot. Practicing with a Sangha is always better than practicing on my own, even though in meditation we look inwardly, but the support and the collective energy of the Sangha is always precious and supportive. Let's do a one-word check-in and see where you are right now in terms of your mental state. So just type one word, in the chat to say to check in. For me is calm. someone type tiring. So I am the reason I'm tiring you, right? Thank you for being honest. We would take all of these positive and, you know, um, tiring energy, we collect them together, mix them up, and share among ourselves. For those who are, um, in the positive stage of mind, please observe some of the, not so positive um, state of mind from our Sangha members. That is the practice of bodhisattva. Um, right, so thank you for doing this. Last week during our sharing, due to the technical problem, I didn't hear everybody's share. So I missed some points and some questions that you raised during that time. And I watched my own recording. I listened back to my own recording, and I find some points that are important to further discuss. So one thing that Ấn and his group was raising was about mindfulness practice and the practice of reciting the Buddha's name. How does that help in transforming our suffering, right? So mindfulness, or the practice of reciting the Buddha's name alone, does not inherently transform suffering. Instead, its primary function lies in calming the mind, freeing the mind from distractions. By engaging in mindfulness practice or reciting the Buddha's name, we create a conducive environment where the mind can achieve a state of calmness and concentration. That is the first step, right? So that is called samatha, similar to samatha meditation. So once the mind is tranquil and focused, it opens door to the next phase of meditation, which involves, generating insights through investigative or analytical meditation. This is unique to Buddhist meditation. In early tradition, it is called vipassana meditation. If you have heard that term before, vipassana meditation is investigative meditation. It happens after samatha meditation or after mindfulness meditation. So if you see, when we practice meditation together, first we establish a rhythm of breathing, right? So to calm our mind, to bring our mind back to the present moment. And then I ask you to, go a little bit deeper into your mind, to be with one mental, thought. So whatever happened after you calm your mind, you can see that a little bit clearer than before. So we need to have calming mindfulness meditation before we can do this investigative meditation. So in this stage, we delve deeper into the nature of our experiences, thoughts, and emotions. We explore the underlying causes and conditions that give rise to the suffering. So this practice helps us gain a clearer understanding of suffering's roots, right? Through investigative and analytical meditation, we can unravel the layers of our perceptions. This practice allows us to discern the impermanence, unsatisfactory, and selfless nature of phenomena and of ourselves, right? So this deeper insight and enables us to transcend the surface level of suffering and develop a more profound awareness of reality. We go beyond our suffering when we practice this investigative meditation. As a result, it may be a mentally strong mind or spiritually matured mind, or compassionate acceptance of that suffering. This is the kind of insights that essentially deliver us to the other shore. In essence, why mindfulness meditation or recitation of the Buddha's name are valuable, it is not enough, right? It needs, it is the foundation for deeper meditation practice to occur. Like we are building a good foundation for further investigation into the nature of whatever we want to investigate, like our suffering, the roots of the suffering, and how we can transform that suffering. So otherwise, if we use mindfulness meditation only, then we are just, kind of go around the suffering, trying to touch, outer layers of those sufferings. We want to go deep inside. So my kind of method is that we go from conscious mind to the unconscious mind, which is the deeper level of our mind, which stores every kind of seeds that we acquire during our lifetimes or in the past lives until now. So we have to kind of untie all the knots that are the causes of our suffering in order to transform them, right? Some people may think that when we practice, we have a stronger mind that can bear the suffering or that can endure the suffering. It is another way to understand that we don't really endure suffering. We have in this life, we have to kind of acknowledge, accept, and transform, right? So maybe the enduring is kind of accepting that suffering is inevitable, like old age, sickness. Those are the suffering that we have to accept. And then we go further, we transform them, we make good use of them. So those are, how meditation can help us transform suffering. So again, meditation in Buddhism consists of samatha and vipassana, or calming, mindfulness meditation, and analytical meditation. We need both to be able to overcome and transform our suffering. All right. Any question regarding that? If you are generating question, we can have some time at the end of this class to raise. Okay. All right. So let's share the sutra, and our friends will read them for us. So today we continue our second part, Subhuti question. Who want to go first?
This is Dale. Supposed to read?
Yes, Matt.
2. Subhuti's question. At that time, the Venerable Subhuti stood up, bared his right shoulder, put his knee on the ground, and folding his palms respectfully, said to the Buddha, "World-honored one, it is rare to find someone like you. You always support and show special confidence in the bodhisattvas. World honored one, if sons and daughters of good families want to give rise to the highest, most fulfilled, awakened mind, what should they rely on and what should they do to master their thinking? Still me.
Yeah.
The Buddha replied, well said, Subhuti. What you have said is absolutely correct. The Tathagata always supports and shows special confidence in the bodhisattvas. Please listen with all of your attention, and the Tathagata will respond to your questions. If daughters and sons of good families want to give rise to the highest, most fulfilled, awakened mind, they should rely on the following and master their thinking in the following way. The Venerable Subhuti said, Lord, we are so happy to hear your teachings.
Thank you. We know that this is the first question Subhuti raised for the Buddha. And I know that you are eager to explore the answer, but bear with me here. We have learned a little bit in the previous class about, the Buddha has shown some confidence, special confidence in bodhisattvas. And now let's go to the second part, which is, the question itself. When Subhuti asked the Buddha if sons and daughters of good families, when I heard the word sons and daughters, my mind becomes so happy, because in many traditions, the status of women is very low. Like in early, before the Buddha's time, women were not allowed to be in the Sangha, right? So hearing the question, if sons and daughters, this is to indicate the equality of everyone on the spiritual path, right? The Buddha was kind of a visionary and a rebel who challenged, the status quo. He lifted the status of woman. The realization of the truth has nothing to do with one's gender, right? So if in the future you read any sutra that states something like, there is no woman in the Buddha land, you should understand that if there's no woman, then there's no man too, right? It transcends duality and binary. In this conventional world, we have left and we have right, we have black, we have white, right? We have male, we have female. If one is absent, the other one cannot be established. Take away left. How can you have right if you don't have a left? That is the binary that we established, right? So this is something for us to, look out for in the future when you read sutras that say, no woman in this land, so there's no man too. It transcends duality. So for now, in the sutra, we see that whatever there is to achieve, it is equally shared for those who practice. And the question, the point here is how to give rise to it, to invoke, to generate, to dedicate, to voluntarily cultivate. That is to say that there's no force or no imposing on the practice of this mind, right? It is important to notice that any realization and spiritual achievement arises from a voluntary cultivation. If you really if someone forced you to practice, there's nothing to be achieved, but only resentment of that person, you know. The highest, most fulfilled, awakened mind, this is the mind of a Buddha, of a bodhisattva, of an awakened person. So there are, in this mind, there are 3 realizations for this, mind to fulfill. First is self-realized. The second is other regarding function. And third is fully realized of both. Okay, so first one, self-realized, is or self-enlightenment, is the ability to realize the truth by one's practice. The Buddha said that we all have the ability to, realize this, the truth, right? It is our doubt about our ability that prevents us from giving rise to the realization. So let me ask you, do you think that you can realize this highest, most fulfilled, awakened mind? Immediately, some of us who have, how can this person, how can I, achieve this highest, most fulfilled, awakened mind? I have so much defilements. I have so much anxieties. How can I achieve that? So that is what prevents us from achieving this mind, So in order for this mind to be right reason, then we have to disregard our doubts about this mind, The second aspect of this mind is other regarding function. It means that you have a vow, you have a commitment to help others to realize the truth as well. So it is not a have to, it's just the nature of this mind. It does not say that, it is like when your left hand, is hurt, your right hand immediately take care of the left hand, right? It is not the right hand doesn't say that, okay, now I take care of you, you have to take care of me in the future. You don't say that, right? It is the nature of this mind that when you achieve it, and on the path to achieve it, it is your second nature. You realize, but you also have the regard for other people to realize this truth too. And the third function is the fully realized quality of this mind. This is the quality that fulfills both self-realized and other regarding function, So the question here could simply mean, how do I become a Buddha? How do I give rise to become a bodhisattva or a Buddha? Or how do I practice and help others practice to become a Buddha or a bodhisattva? This is simply that question, give rise to this kind of mind is, how do I practice? And how do I fulfill this mind? So the answer for this mind to be risen is, okay, you practice, you have other, and you do both perfectly. A bodhisattva is, someone who is enlightened, and also someone who is helping others to be enlightened as well. So when you hear that, you would say, I'm not a bodhisattva, right? We are not, right? No, we are. We are a very small bodhisattva. because we practice and we are helping people to practice, right? So there's a path for bodhisattva to practice. Remember this, a bodhisattva practices 6 paramitas or 6 perfections. If anybody remember those 6 perfections, you can type in the chat for everybody to remember. 6 paramitas are practices that are required for a bodhisattva to fulfill. So these 6 are, I will wait for you to type. So the word paramita means gone beyond or transcending duality, right? For instance, when you practice generosity, often you think that, okay, I am the one who gives, there's someone who receives, and there's a gift, right? But in this perfection paramita practice, a bodhisattva doesn't think that there's a giver, there's a receiver, and there's a gift. So there's no notion of the giver, the receiver, or the gift. This is hard, right? So to practice paramita, we should transcend the duality of an independent self. It is the foundation of the highest, most fulfilled, awakened mind. Or a simpler question, how do you give rise to a good and positive thought? How? Right? How do you give rise to positive thought? What do you rely on when you develop a positive thought? How do you master or retain a positive thought? So these are questions for a breakout group to discuss, right? All right, next is the word, I want to emphasize the word tathagata. What does that mean? Tathagata is sometimes used to refer to the Buddha. It means thus gone or thus come. It is someone who has never come and has never gone. Normally, we think that we were born and that we are from somewhere, and some people even believe that we are from nothing, and when we die, we will become nothing, right? We are not from nothing, and will never return to nothing, Conventionally, we are from something, and when we die, we will be transformed into something else, The image of a cloud is very beautiful to depict this kind of understanding, For example, you see a cloud in the sky. This cloud is beautiful, you like it so much, but then more cloud come, it condense, it become, thick and heavy, so it become a rain fall down, and the cloud disappear. You say cloud disappear, but actually cloud turns into rain, right? So the cloud has been transformed into rain, and that rain may be in your cup of water. So the cloud never disappears. The cloud never comes from nothing and returns to nothing, right? And we are similar to that. We are from something and will be transformed into something else. As for the Buddha, he is someone different. when we call him Tathagata, he has never come and he has never gone. That's called thus come and thus gone. Because the conditions for his birth and rebirth have been extinguished. That is why he is called Tathagata. He transcends coming and going. If we want to be like that, we have to first realize the nature of transformation, meaning that there's something that will be transformed into something else, and then gradually looking at the conditions of our becoming or our suffering, we transform those conditions. When those conditions are extinguished, we will become like the Buddha. No coming, no going. It is kind of it sounds very metaphysical, but it's if you look at a real life example, you see the candle light, right? So you have a candle. You haven't lit the candle yet. Where's the fire? The fire is not only in the candle. The fire is surrounding the candle. The fire is in the air, right? And when you use the lighter, you light the candle. You provide enough conditions for the candle, for the light to appear, right? And then when it burn, and then what happened to the candle when there's no more wax? You don't say it returned to nothing. It's still there somewhere. It's just no condition for it to be, right? So look at the nature of our suffering. There are conditions for suffering to arise. We have to find those conditions and trace back to the roots of the suffering. Because transformation of our suffering is very, I would say, customized and very personal. Each of us, even though we experience similar kinds of suffering, but each person, has so many different conditions that contribute to give rise to that suffering, right? So now you have two kinds of mind. One is a mind that is full of, anxiety, regret, suffering. And there's the other mind, the other kind of mind that is fulfilled, highest, awakened. It is a matter of replacing. So you don't ignore or remove this suffering mind. You just want to build or generate or cultivate another kind of mind that is maybe better than this mind. It is like you have an old road, right? You travel that road, is so muddy and dirty. Now you want to build a new one next to that road, bigger one, pavement, beautiful tree, So this is your new habit, new kind of mind, right? And the suffering, the depression, the difficult emotion are still there because some emotion, some suffering leaves very big scar in our mind, in our heart, And we have to acknowledge that, right? It's still there, but we don't travel that road anymore. We want to create new road, because if we travel the old road, we know that it leads to more suffering, right? So now we have another kind of mindset that is awakened. We want to generate this. We want to focus on this. And maybe when we have this better, mindset, we can use this. We can travel this more, and our life will just become easier and easier than focusing on, this old and muddy road. And again, I had to emphasize that difficult emotion and suffering are never going anywhere, and we don't try to kind of undermine the experience that someone has undergone, because it is very personal. To us, maybe it's nothing, but to them, it's something that they have to endure their whole life, right? So we have to acknowledge that. And this Sangha, we are building together another kind of mindset. We travel on different road, which is the road that we are building together. And we call the Dharma the path, right? The Dharma is the path, but the path, your path, is unique to you. You don't follow anybody's path. You don't follow any master's, teacher's path. The Buddha, the teachers are like signposts, They are like guiding posts for you to build your own path, so that you don't go astray from the practice. Okay? You don't want to be imposed. Remember, this mind is a voluntary cultivation, right? So you don't want to be imposed by your teacher or by the Buddha himself. Even he said, don't believe in everything I say immediately. So he provide guideline, signposts for us to build our own path, because he knows that each person experiences life so differently, right? So now we don't pray for the Buddha to save us, but we pray that, show me more signposts. And he is showing us the signpost through the sutra that we are, learning on the path. And traveling is much more fun with many people, right? That's why we have the Sangha. So today, the metaphor of creating your own path, new path, okay, new habits. If that language is more familiar, you replace old habit with new habit. Okay, you don't ignore, or you cannot suppress. Suppression leads to depression. What does that mean, to depress something? You push down, right? So you don't depress, you don't, suppress anything. You build another one by the materials that we are learning and getting from this sutra. Okay, and how the Buddha say, okay, listen with all your attention, please. All your attention. This is where the miracle begins to happen. It does not matter how wonderful your questions are. If you don't pay full attention to the answer, you will never receive, the benefit from the answer, right? Subhuti may ask wonderful question, but maybe he was distracted, so he cannot receive the full benefit from the teaching. Maybe the sutra in front of you is so beautiful, but when you read it, you are distracted by your phone, your email, your message. And how can you receive the teaching from that sutra, which is profound, right? So the Buddha said, listen with all of your attention. In other words, it does not matter how transformative the answer is, even. If you do not pay attention, you will not receive any insights. Good questions, good, attention, and good answers equate insight. There's interaction between the one who asks and the one who answers. This interaction invites our mind to engage to each other. It will keep the conversation alive. If one person is distracted, the conversation will die out, right? Similarly, when we engage scripture like the Diamond Sutra, we are interacting with the past and the future. If we are distracted, we will be the missing link, between the past and the future, between what is taught in the sutra and what is happening in our mind. So we want to connect to our ancestor with our descendants by paying attention, How are we going to retell this encounter if we do not pay attention to what happened next in the scripture? So this comes back to the question, what would the Buddha do, or would the Buddha achieve Buddhahood if he were to live here in this very distracting life? Yes, he could, because he paid attention. All right, that is the end of this part of the sutra. A lot of information and a lot of suggestions for you to contemplate. But bear in mind that whenever you pay attention, you are keeping the conversation alive. No matter where your practice is, it doesn't matter, It doesn't matter where you are right now. It is matter how much attention you would pay when you engage the scripture. And with that attention, come to how do we understand the answer that the Buddha will give us in the next class. All right, so that is for explanation from me in this class. And next we will do our breakout. Today we will do random 4-person group, so you can talk to different people, and I'll give you 10 minutes or less to talk with each other in your breakout room. Okay, so you can send people to the breakout group. All right, so everybody's here. Right, let's share the screen again. And can you please read the sutra again for us, please?
Sure. The Buddha replied, "Well said, Subhuti. What you have said is absolutely..." Oh, sorry. At that time, the Venerable Subhuti stood up, bared his right shoulder, put his knee on the ground, and, folding his palms respectfully, said to the Buddha, "World-honored one, it is rare to find someone like you. You always support and show special confidence in the bodhisattvas. World-honored one, if sons and daughters of good families want to give rise to the highest, most fulfilled awakened mind, what should they rely on, and what should they do to master their thinking?" The Buddha replied, "Well said, Subhuti. What you have said is absolutely correct. The Tathagata always supports and shows special confidence in the bodhisattvas. Please listen with all of your attention, and the Tathagata will respond to your questions. If daughters and sons of good families want to give rise to the highest, most fulfilled, awakened mind, they should rely on the following and master their thinking in the following way." The Venerable Subhuti said, "Lord, we are so happy to hear your teachings."
Thank you. Spend a moment to put yourself in the word, the phrase, son and daughters. You are those people who want to give rise to the highest, most fulfilled, awakened mind. Okay, so next will be sharing from representative from different group. I see Brother Wu raise hand. Please go ahead. You have to unmute yourself first.
Good morning, Venerable.
Morning.
I read in the Mahayana Sutras. They always mention bodhisattvas. Am I hearing something?
You are very echoing.
Yeah, there seems to be an echoing issue.
I think it's
Okay.
mine.
I always hear the word bodhisattvas. It's very often mentioned in the Mahayana Sutta. So I would like Venerable to clarify what is a bodhisattva? What do they do and what is their role in the life of us worldlings? We are worldlings. Bodhisattvas are not worldlings. Are they worldlings also? And they always say that bodhisattvas will help us. How does a bodhisattva have a mundane person like us? How do they help them? And if you want help from them, how do we connect? How do we interact with the bodhisattva? And how do we identify a bodhisattva? So these bodhisattvas are around us, or whether they are here or there or not. What I really want to know is if a human being faces difficulties, can we call upon the bodhisattva to help us? And if so, how do we do it? How do we know their presence is here or not? Have they come? Have they gone? And what do I need to do in respect of this relationship? So this role of bodhisattva in our life is a mystery. So can Venerable clarify?
Thank you. That's a great question. Yeah. So to me, there are different kinds of bodhisattvas. The one in the scriptures, like Kuan Yin or Avalokitesvara, or the Earth Store Bodhisattva, or Manjushri Bodhisattva. So those are in the scripture, right? And they transcend good, bad, mundane, or not mundane. So they transcend all those perceptions, right? For me, so the word bodhisattva, has two components, right? Bodhi is awakening, and sattva is a sentient being, right? Awakening sentient being or awakening being. Whoever is awakened is a bodhisattva. And that is the first part. And the second part is that awakened person helps another person to be awakened. Not completely awakened, a little bit awakened can make you a bodhisattva. So if you are on the path of awakening, and you also help others on the similar path, then I call you a bodhisattva. So congratulations, you have been promoted to be a bodhisattva. And everybody in here, we are small bodhisattvas. We have to believe that. We have to affirm that. You see, many Buddhas in their previous lives, before they become Buddha, they have to truly affirm and believe that they can do it. The only thing that prevent anyone is about doubt. You doubt that you cannot because the task is so huge, so impossible, right? But there's always the first step and many thousand steps to come, but you have to take the first step. And I truly believe that all of us who are inspired to practice and to help others practice are bodhisattvas. So they are not mystery. They are in this life, and they're very, very real to me. Okay? I hope that makes sense to you and clarify a little bit. Thank you. All right, you Bao.
Dear Thầy, I know that you have touched on this a little bit in the last lecture, but I'm not really clear of when Subhuti asked the Buddha why the Buddha gives so special attention or consideration to the Bodhisattva. Now, given the meaning of the context of this sutra is about non-discrimination, non-self, so I'm still not sure why this question will bring up by an arahant, and why the Buddha agreed that he did give a special consideration for the bodhisattva. Would you mind to explain it a little bit more? Thank you.
Okay, so again, in this context, Subhuti is not an arahant. He's so advanced in his bodhisattva career, right? So he is a great bodhisattva. Secondly, the Buddha shows special confidence in bodhisattvas. You want the Buddha to show special confidence in you, in bodhisattva. It is a kind of investment because he knows that these great people will continue the path of insights and wisdom, insight and compassion, of liberating themselves and liberating others. That's why he shows special confidence in these beings. If you doubt that he doesn't show confidence in you, maybe overcome that doubt and you can realize that he shows special confidence in you too, in us too. It is a kind of encouragement, when you say to a child, I believe in you, I have confidence in you. Even though that child is nothing special than the other child, but that is a kind of encouragement that a child needs. For us, beginners, we want to hear words of encouragement from the Buddha, from the teachers, that we can do it, that our suffering can be transformed, right? Otherwise, we will be desperate, especially during this time, with so much suffering we have to endure. So this is a kind of great encouragement and great investment. And we should too show special confidence in people who practice and continue the practice and continue the tradition. So me personally, I show special confidence in the children who know the Dharma, who come to the temple, because I know that they are the future of our society, of the tradition. They continue that. So this is a great kind of manual for leadership, for you know, spiritual teachers, for counselor. You have to affirm to people that, you know, Subhuti, when he asks, he doesn't ask about any other bodhisattva. He asks about those who are in the audience, you know, because he knew that these people, these practitioners, even though they're the bhikkhus, but they are great bodhisattvas. That's what I firmly believe in you know, Mahayana tradition. Most of us are old here. Are you confident in us as well? You know, conventional age doesn't make you doesn't determine your spiritual advancement, right? The Buddha said there are, so you are, to me, we are very young in the practice, right? Couple decades, not too much. The Buddha Bodhisattva practiced for many eons, many million, thousand years. So we are still very young. Your age is just a manifestation of a kind of suffering that you are enduring. Old age is not it's not to determine that, you know, you're old. Maybe old age has significance in terms of you know, discipline and um, you know, effort, right? Okay, so the Buddha showed special confidence if you are in that category, in the bodhisattva category, and I believe that you are. So he also shows special confidence in you too, right? All right, so let's go back to the sharing. I like to hear from you, from your group, from the insights that you share among yourselves. Anybody want to go?
Yeah, I can go. We were just kind of talking about, the first step is noticing thoughts as they are arising, noticing them for what they are. And we kind of looked at the example of, maybe you get cut off in traffic by somebody, and instead of, getting mad at them, you could maybe show some compassion, say, hey, maybe they're having a bad day, maybe they didn't see me, and, instead of turning that negative thought into a more transmuting into a more positive thought, and show compassion for somebody else that might not be having a good day, or maybe they just didn't see you, or maybe they're elderly and they they need some new glasses or something like that. Yeah, that's kind of what we talked about. And practicing gratitude is another aspect of that. So if you're thinking grateful thoughts, and that also will mean that you're not thinking negative thoughts. So yeah.
Yeah. I see in the chat that one group, Thai, Kim, and David. So like a garden, you must tend to the soil of your mind with gratitude and compassion, allowing positive thoughts to naturally blossom. When your wholesome thoughts bloom, you then utilize your focus to maintain the positive thoughts and not focus on the unwholesome thoughts. With compassion, you can even have gratitude for both negative and positive thoughts. That's great. And
Let's see, what did our group talk about? I believe it could be reduced down to maybe two major points, being first, just abiding in the positive thoughts, and I guess sort of like counting your blessings and recognizing that even in negative experience, there's always a positive way of looking at things. And then the second part is understanding how difficult it is to let go of negative thoughts or feelings when they arise, but it's also very useless to cling, and it doesn't make the situation any better or more bearable. So just retaining positivity is often about making sure you're not clinging to the negative and you can accept situations for what they are.
Right. Any other group? Okay. The theme of gratitude, letting go, be present to the thought you know, is what we are practicing every day, right? So writing gratitude journal, doing touching the earth practice, doing mindfulness meditation practice. These are foundational practices that give rise to more, you know, keep it on track to the most fulfilled and awakened mind, right? Anybody? I just wanna give some time so that everybody, you know, can have the opportunity to share. Yes, Yvette.
Yes, I think that talking about the positive thought, so far we, everyone and the group covered compassion, love, and all of that. There's one thing that in my group that Jung Wing Ting mentioned that I think it's very, very good is to practice and practice to maintain the positive thought is the ego. When our ego is so high, that's caused all the problems. So the practicing and not focus on our ego. Yep.
Thank you. All right, so remember, you know, we are here as a Sangha. I'm grateful that we have this space together. You have to also every day congratulate yourself that, you know, another day you have lived, you have fulfilled your practice. Yeah, David, go ahead.
Yeah, the one thing that I was thinking in what we were discussing is how to lay the foundation and to really continue focusing on positive things. And the more you do that, and the more you put that out, the more it comes back. But the other thing I wanted to say was that, or at least what I found, at least for me as a that's helped me over many years, especially with like the say the first precept is with whenever there's any insects in the house, right? So yeah, I used to always have the habit of trying to, you have to like ants or whatever, you kill them, right? And then I think maybe 15, 20 years ago, I started realizing that's not right, obviously, right? And so anytime I see an insect in the house or anything, I always capture it in a cup and take it outside. But doing that over and over and over and over again, it gets to the point where it doesn't, your body is just naturally prone to helping sentient beings rather than trying to hurt them. So instead of trying to, again, look at the negative, you look at the positive. And so I realized if you keep doing that over and over and over again, you're almost just training yourself and it almost just becomes a natural habit, right?
Yeah, it becomes second nature of you, you know, just you do it without even think about it, you know. You like you breathe, right? You don't think that you're breathing, but you do it because you do it very, very have been doing it for a very long time. So when our mind is trained like that, you know, becoming a bodhisattva is inevitable. All right. Okay, thank you, everybody. So now, dedication of merits. Yvette, are you ready to read?
Dedication of merit. With gratitude, may the wisdom and compassion we nurture while exploring the Diamond Sutra illuminate our paths. With gratitude, may it lead us to deeper understanding, peace, healing, harmony, and joy for all living beings. With gratitude, may our dedication to learning and practicing the Buddha's teachings help lessen suffering and guide ourselves and others toward enlightenment. With gratitude, may all find happiness, may all be free from suffering, may all beings reach enlightenment.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Last thing, I don't want you to read this dedication of merit every time. So your homework is to send me one line of dedication that you want to be read in the class. I will compose it, and then we make that as a collective dedication of merits. Okay? All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Have a wonderful
Thank you, thầy.
moment whenever you are.
Yeah.
Thank you, thầy.
Thank
Good night.
you.
Everybody.
Goodbye, everyone.
Have a
Thank
good
you.
night.
Thank you, Thầy.
Night.
Thank you, thầy.